This is the 2021 version of the Asus Vivobook Flip 14, part of a segment of laptops that seems to be getting pretty popular lately, that of bang for buck. When shopping around for a good value AMD 2-in-1 recently, the only other option in this price range I found worth looking at was the Lenovo IdeaPad Flex 5, at least in Australia. It's always interesting checking out the bang for buck categories to see which corners have been trimmed, cut, or plain hacked off, and what makes them worthwhile. So, what's missing here? The Vivobook Flip features an AMD Ryzen 5 5500U Zen 2 CPU, 8GB of RAM, and a 512GB SSD, paired with a 14-inch Full HD reversible glossy touchscreen and driven by Vega 7 integrated Radeon graphics. Picked up for around 1,000 Aussie dollary dues. Not bad for around the price of a Pixel 6. So let's start with the biggest chunk taken out of this package, the screen. In isolation, the screen here is just fine. Full HD is good for a 14-inch. Glossy isn't usually my favourite, but okay when it's a touchscreen, and viewing angles are solid. The weakness comes from the finer details though, being an IPS display capable of 250 nits of brightness at 50% Adobe RGB. Adobe RGB refers to the colour gamut, or basically the range of colours it's able to reproduce compared to the whole spectrum. Adobe RGB is one of these colour gamut standards. You'll also see DCI-P3 and sRGB. So 50% Adobe RGB means it's only able to produce half of the colours in that gamut, and even the colours it can display aren't particularly accurate either. Any reasonable mid-range display should be hitting at least 70%, and in comparison, here's how it appears next to my LG monitor, which hits around 96%. When compared, you really notice the difference in colours. The 250 nits is also a concern, as that refers to the brightness, which generally anything under 300 is as dim as a cargo bay on a Nostromo. Just like me, you want to keep this away from the outside and basically any natural sunlight, as neither of us will function all that well. So bottom line, the colour accuracy and brightness of this panel are lacking, but something had to give for the price here. The screen is presented in a 360-degree hinge, which is firm and secure. The two-stage hinge style also props up the keyboard at a slight angle when resting on a desk, but might dig into your knees a little while on your lap. As mentioned before, there is also a touch screen included, which is responsive and accurate. I don't often find myself using touch too much on Windows, but the option is nice, and the included pen adds a bit of extra value. The 5500U does really well here, a solid processor that can handle just about anything you can throw at it. The 8GB of RAM is a bit weak for 2021, and disappointing not to have 16 standard. Investigating further by cracking things open, we find the RAM module is upgradable, so jumping up to 16GB of RAM can be done DIY down the line. There's no spare M.2 slot, so you can't add an extra SSD, but you can swap out the current one for a bigger one. You can see the 42 watt-hour battery here, which is nothing special. Getting me a good amount of portable hours, but never wanting to stray all too far from a charger. Sadly, USB-C charging is not included, making it a little bit more difficult needing the supplied pin charger whenever you do eventually go on the move. While not really the aim of a laptop like this, light gaming is possible on the Vega 7 integrated graphics. The screen didn't hinder the enjoyment either when trying out some Portal 2, Age of Mythology, and Civ 6. The extra CPU grunt being handy for those later Civ 6 turns. Standard with many laptops these days is the software bloat, and it's no different here, with the inclusion of their suite of enhancements with questionable effectiveness to the bundling of McAfee, forcing a pop-up to renew upon each boot. So yeah, McAfee, that was gone immediately. The other stuff, that's up to you. The rest of the package is rather decent for the price. The trackpad's okay, not quite as smooth feeling as some higher end laptops, but it's accurate and multi-touch works well. Clicking the touchpad doesn't work on the entire top quarter though, but that is yet to cause issues. The keyboard is nice to type on, responsive with good feedback and reasonable backlighting. There is a little bit of flex from the chassis, but it isn't noticeable with normal use, and one of the drawbacks at this price segment. The style is nice, but the matte colour is definitely a fingerprint magnet. Speakers are surprisingly decent and loud. They are a downward firing variety unfortunately, so they will sound better on a desk rather than on your lap. Port options are great, especially compared to the way higher end laptops are going these days, with two USB-A, a USB-C, an HDMI, a 3.5mm headphone jack, and an SD card slot, all contained in a sleek package of around 1.5 kilos. Overall, this is an excellent value laptop, with even a pen thrown in for more. With the function over form approach of the excellent internals, reasonable build, and poor screen, this is definitely aimed at people who don't need the most accurate of displays. So content creators will need an external monitor or look elsewhere. The Vivobook Flip excels at productivity and office work, where spreadsheets, PDFs, and Word documents rule, with plenty of speed and convenience to get the task done, with enough versatility for a sneaky game on break too. Just be sure to stay away from the sun.